The film begins by showing a group of men on a train who are about to engage in a bet with a man named Siddhu. He is challenged by all of them to perform a stunt while the train is moving, and they will record his actions. It's not in Siddhu's nature to shy away from such trivial acts. In fact, he is so obsessed with risking his life that he earns the nickname Crack in his village. Upon arriving home, Siddhu's father is furious with him because he continues to perform dangerous and often illegal stunts, leading to frequent encounters with the police. His father even uses his retirement money to bail Siddhu out of jail. His father, named Bridges Dixit, was a former athlete who won 3 bronze medals in the Commonwealth, now enjoys his retirement funded by the government. However, Siddhu doesn't want that life where his picture in the newspaper or to become famous. Siddhu just wants to make money from sports that challenge him. Hearing this angers Dixit even more because if Siddhu only wants money, his father would give it all to him. After seeing all that money, Siddhu can only remain silent. Because neither he nor his parents dare to touch a penny of it, as that money cost them the life of Nihal, Siddhu's older brother, who died pursuing an extreme sports game. Enraged by the memory, Siddhu chooses to leave home on his bike. Apparently, when Nihal was alive, they were very close because they both enjoyed extremely dangerous and life-threatening activities. They even frequently went in and out of jail. Because of this, Siddhu admired Nihal and wanted to surpass his brother's craziness someday. Every time they did something risky, they made sure to record it and often sent the videos to a website known as Maidaan, which held competitions with huge cash prizes. Time passes, and they continue to engage in dangerous activities, despite often being caught by the police. Eventually, after much anticipation, Nihal finally receives an official invitation from Maidaan to participate in a competition. Dev, the person in charge of the game and the reigning undefeated champion in several previous competitions, selects participants for the Maidaan competition, which attracts people from all over the world. The scene shifts to Zach meeting his boss and informing him that Philippus is already at the location. Dev then invites Philippus to play with him on a tightrope, which they use as a walkway. However, it turns out Dev intends to kill Philippus because he has been collaborating with the police, providing them with information about Maidaan. On the other hand, at the police station in Poland, a woman named Patricia tells her superior that the Maidaan game is illegal and extremely dangerous. And Dev is suspected of smuggling something very dangerous into their country. However, Thomas argues that what they're doing hasn't been proven to be a national threat. In fact, Thomas is furious with her for causing the death of their informant and orders Patricia not to interfere anymore, as he plans to hand the case over to Interpol. Meanwhile, Siddhu was seen relaxes on the beach, when an old man approaches him and offers Siddhu a balloon, which turns out to be a special invitation from Maidaan. Knowing this, Siddhu can't believe he's been chosen as one of the participants and immediately follows the old man onto a boat headed to Maidaan's headquarters. On the other hand, Dev examines an item that has arrived from overseas. The item was plutonium, the most important material in making nuclear bombs. Apparently, Dev plans to sell it to the mafia in the country, but without the knowledge of the 4 top officials of Maidaan, as he intends to use the name of Maidaan as a cover for his trade. Meanwhile, Dixit is very worried about his son because Siddhu hasn't returned home since their argument. Dixit even tries to inquire with the police, as Siddhu might have been arrested by them again. However, Paul informs him that Siddhu isn't there, indicating that he might be facing danger elsewhere. While on the journey to Maidaan, Siddhu wakes up from his sleep and hallucinates seeing Nihal beside him. At that moment, Nihal asks his brother why he came to Maidaan and urges him to return home. Nihal then shows Siddhu that he once came there, and now he's returned as Siddhu's conscience. However, Siddhu assures Nihal not to worry about what might happen because he'll win and return safely. Hearing this, Nihal just smiles and encourages him to stay spirited and fulfill his dreams. After a long journey, Siddhu and 31 other players arrive at Dev's palace and welcomes them to Maidaan. After that, their phones will be confiscated, and they won't be able to contact anyone outside, and they must never remove the bracelets given to them, as the bracelets serve to monitor every detail of the participants. Apparently, there are 3 races with a total prize money of $800 million. The winner of the first race will win $160 million, $240 million for the second race, and $400 million for the third race. The Maidaan champion has the chance to double their winnings by challenging Dev. If the participant managed to defeat him, money is guaranteed, and fame is something unimaginable. After that, 5 Maidaan officials who see the new participants join the competition are very excited, especially Mark, Dev's father, who considers Maidaan the most precious thing in his life. Meanwhile, at the police station in Poland, they've received information that the Maidaan game will soon start again. And the 32 participants are displayed on Maidaan's website, and Siddhu is the most interesting participant for them. Which Siddhu has a history there because his brother, Nihal, competed in the final 4 years ago against Dev and eventually died. Not long after, Dev meets with his important client somewhere and offers them plutonium, where they can take the goods in front of them if the offer is agreeable. Once the down payment is received, Dev will promptly send the other items to them. At night, the Maidaan participants were given a party to relieve tension because the next day all participants would start competing in the competition. Junaida, an operator at Maidaan and their supervisor at the party, told Siddhu that they had to remember the rules at Maidaan if they wanted to leave safely and return home to their parents' arms. Hearing this, Siddhu then remembered his parents and tried to borrow Junaida's phone to call his parents. Siddhu then connected with his mother and said that he was okay and apologized for now being in another country, in the same place where Nihal went. Siddhu also apologized to his father for whatever happened yesterday. However, he promised them that he would return home with a bag containing the competition winnings. After that, the participants were enjoying the party at the nightclub where they could take the opportunity to get to know each other. Accidentally, Siddhu saw an influencer at Maidaan named Alia, and he was very fascinated from the first sight as he saw her. Siddhu then tried to approach her, but Alia said she was out of his reach. The following day, the first round of the match is about to begin and the 32 participants are very excited to participate in the competition they will play. At the same time, Alia was seen doing a live broadcast in the competition that could be seen by everyone from other countries through Maidaan's official website. Inside the game arena, there are also many people watching the match, and many of the streaming audience members are also betting on one of the participants there. On the other hand, Siddhu's mother, who returned from shopping at the market, was invited by Siddhu's friends to watch the game where he would play. Shortly after, Dev also came to the game arena by helicopter and explained all the rules of their first game. Apparently, there are 16 flags on the trucks that will speed up to 160 km/h. And the player who manages to grab one of those flags will advance to the next race because half of the participants will be eliminated in this round. To make it easier for them to get on the truck, there are go-karts they can ride, but controlled remotely. Once they can ride the go-kart, participants have manual control and they must get on top as quickly as possible because each go-kart has a different built-in timer. And the winner will advance to the next round. Not long after, the game finally starts and each participant is provided with a tool to get the go-kart. Some participants start strategizing to get a go-kart that can take them closer to the flag-carrying truck. However, when the go-karts are about to come out of their pins, there is still an obstacle that causes Siddhu's go-kart to overturn. At that moment, his action clearly amazed all the spectators, because they couldn't believe that Siddhu survived after the incident. After that, Siddhu is now in a go-kart driven by Alfonso, one of the participants from Africa. It turns out that the obstacle in the game is not just a barrier that obstructs the go-kart's path from within the pin. There is an iron ball swinging in the middle of the go-kart track, which makes some participants eliminated by being thrown by the iron ball. Similarly, Siddhu and Alfonso were affected by it. Although they were not hit by the iron ball, the debris from the other participants' go-karts caused the go-kart they were riding to overturn. Luckily for them, the go-kart they were riding is connected to a device on one of the other participants' go-karts and dragged the go-kart they were riding. So, they still have a chance to advance from the first round. Not long after, the game was heating up and almost reaching its peak, where Martin, a participant from Egypt, emerged as the winner in this first round and was entitled to a prize of $160 million. Some participants also managed to get on top of the truck and obtain the Maidaan flag so they could advance to the next round. Eventually, 3 flags remained, making the audience tense. After that, a participant from China named Liana got one of the remaining flags, followed by Alfonso, who was competing for the flag with Johan. While Siddhu also made a strong effort to get one of the remaining flags, which Johan also coveted. After that, Siddhu successfully grabbed the remaining flag, and his action truly mesmerized everyone watching the game. People were very pleased with what he had done, including Siddhu's mother and Alia, who were now truly enchanted by his actions. The 16 participants who safely advanced to the next round watched clearly as their comrades died in the arena. Dev then congratulated those who had advanced and said that if any of them died like other participants, the amount of money they had won so far would be given to their families back home, as Maidaan would not mourn for those who died today. Instead, they would celebrate their lives and deaths. So, Dev asked them not to be sad because those who died were their heroes. After that, Dev also suggested they enjoy the night and have fun after going through such a tiring day for all of them. That night, at the nightclub, Alia is thrilled to see Siddhu survive and advance to the next round. She then invites Siddhu to leave the Maidaan headquarters, enjoy this night with joy, including stopping by her apartment to savor intimate moments before the second round begins. After enjoying the night with Alia, Siddhu planned to return to Maidaan's headquarters. However, Patricia, who was in Siddhu's car, offered him to work together. She then explained that she was an inspector and knew that Siddhu was one of the Maidaan participants. Patricia then asked Siddhu to place a chip near Dev so she could listen to all of his conversations. Additionally, Patricia had heard that Dev was bringing in a shipment into their country that could be a threat to Poland, and she needed Siddhu's help to catch Dev. Apparently, Siddhu had to comply with her request because if he refused, Patricia would imprison him for life for entering this country without a passport. The next day, as Siddhu was about to enter Maidaan's headquarters, suddenly from behind, Zach hit him with a bottle of drink until it broke. Zach is angry to see Siddhu with Patricia, who is a police officer trying to catch Dev. Siddhu tries to explain what happened during the meeting, but it seems futile, and he chooses to flee from there. After that, a fight between Zach and Siddhu was inevitable until both of them entered Dev's room. Feeling at a disadvantage, Siddhu told Dev that the policewoman had tracked him, where Patricia was discussing something about smuggling in Maidaan, and she instructed Siddhu to place a chip near him. However, Siddhu refused to cooperate with Patricia because his goal in coming to this place was only to become the winner. Hearing the explanation, Dev somewhat believed him and destroyed the chip he had. Dev then asked Siddhu to rest in his room. However, before he left, Siddhu picked up Zach's fallen cross necklace and said he wouldn't be gentle with him anymore if he invited him to fight. The next day, Zach was at a location to pick up the plutonium he had ordered from abroad. However, Patricia and several police officers arrived at the scene to thwart the transaction. Zach was successfully captured by Patricia, but the package containing the plutonium was successfully smuggled out of the location. Sometime later, before the second round of Maidaan games began, Dev received news that Zach had been arrested by the police. Dev panicked upon hearing this because it could ruin all the plans he had made. Likewise, the Maidaan executives, upon hearing the news of Zach's arrest by the police, chose to cancel the second round of the game to avoid the worst-case scenario that could damage Maidaan's image. On the other hand, Patricia told her subordinates that she had given Siddhu 2 chips which she had placed on Zach's necklace. Therefore, they could find out the location of the transaction. Patricia then interrogated Zach, not expecting to find a file about very dangerous goods entering the country, but he wouldn't talk no matter what they did to him. However, one thing for sure, Patricia would kill Siddhu just like they killed his brother. Shortly after, Patricia received a call from Siddhu saying that his life was in danger because Dev knew that he had leaked Zach's whereabouts. Feeling guilty for involving Siddhu in her case, Patricia asked him to head to the GPS location that would be sent to him. However, it turned out to be a trap so that Dev could save Zach at that location. Not long after, Siddhu arrived at the location indicated by Patricia. So did Dev's henchmen who secretly planted bombs throughout the area. Patricia then met Siddhu, who had arrived at the location, and said she had arranged his flight to India. However, Dev's henchmen suddenly fired at the place, forcing them to run for their lives. After successfully rescuing Zach from the location, they both prepared to leave. Seeing Dev and Zach trying to leave the place, Patricia tried to stop them by taking the explosive detonator device that Dev carried. Patricia threatened to blow up the place and didn't care if she died too. However, suddenly from behind, Siddhu took the explosive device and told Patricia that he would only give his loyalty to Maidaan. Apparently, Dev had brought him to participate in the sports event that Siddhu had longed for and also provided 5-star facilities at Maidaan. Siddhu considered Dev more than just a god because only Dev understood his wishes all this time. However, Patricia said that Dev was the one who killed Nihal and he didn't die in the race as Siddhu had known all along after Zach had told her everything. Hearing this, Siddhu was confused by that statement and asked Dev to explain what had happened. If he refused, Siddhu then would blow up the place. Disliking being threatened, Dev then threatened Siddhu back by saying he would come to him and press the detonator button with his own hand. After that, Siddhu chose to press the detonator button, causing panic and fear among the people present. That night, Siddhu found himself somewhere and borrowed someone's phone to ascertain clearly how his brother died. 4 years ago, during the final showdown between Nihal and Dev, both of them jumped from a plane at an altitude of 40,000 feet using motorcycles and carrying a parachute on their backs to grab the flag below them. Unfortunately, for Nihal, his parachute refused to open, causing him to crash into a building and killing himself. After that incident, Patricia was reprimanded by Thomas for making a very fatal mistake. He then demanded her badge and suspended Patricia indefinitely. Siddhu then called Alia and was very angry with her because she had secretly informed Dev that Siddhu met Patricia. Siddhu thought that she loved him, but his love was unrequited. Not long after, Patricia was now in a bar to calm her mind, and she also met Siddhu, who looked very frustrated with what was happening to him. Siddhu then forced Patricia to tell him what really happened to his brother's death. If his brother had indeed died in a game, Siddhu would accept it willingly. However, Patricia couldn't explain because she felt betrayed by him, leading to her suspension from her job. If Siddhu wanted to know the truth and also wanted to know where the plutonium was, there was only one person who could explain it, named Mark. But for that, Siddhu had to return to Maidaan and participate in the games there again. Sometime later, the second round of the game resumed, where the audience was very excited to see their champions in action again. Dev then explains the game they have to play in this second round, where they will be chased by 200 hungry wild dogs, and all participants will wear roller skates to escape from these wild dogs. In this race, everyone would be paired with a professional who wouldn't hinder their play. Participants would be tied to their respective partners, and the dogs' targets were to sniff their partner's clothes. There were 7 flags in the castle, and upon obtaining the flag, the protective cage would envelop the participant, and they would qualify for the third race. However, to win this race, participants had to find the white flag guarded by an electric current that could kill the participant themselves. This second game comes with a prize of $240 million, and the other participants also benefit from Siddhu's elimination. Hearing this, everyone can't believe it, especially since almost half of the betting money is for him, prompting many of them to reconsider their bets. Suddenly, Siddhu returned to the race arena, which made everyone mention his name. Siddhu then met Dev and said that he came there to compete in Maidaan and didn't want any trouble. If his brother died in a race, Siddhu would accept it. However, if he found out that his brother died due to something else, he would seek revenge for Nihal's death. However, Dev didn't care about what Siddhu said or wanted. As long as he didn't want his presence, it would be futile. However, Mark suddenly made an important announcement there, stating that the desires and interests of fans and viewers from around the world, as well as the founding members of Maidaan, had decided to allow Siddhu to participate in the race. Everyone is very happy to hear this, but not Dev. Although he doesn't mind if they all want Siddhu to play, the problem in this game is that he has to be in pairs. Dev then offers everyone there if anyone is willing to work with a traitor, and Alia offers herself to be Siddhu's playing partner. The match finally began, and all participants scattered to find the whereabouts of the flags there. Shortly after, an exciting match happened there after some participants began to rush to find the flags in that area while being chased by dogs. One by one, participants began to fail in this game because the dogs moved quickly to hunt them down. After that, some participants preferred to get the red flag rather than being bitten by the dogs continually chasing them. What remained now was the white flag as their last ticket to advance to the next round, and also the winner of this second round game. At that moment, Siddhu told Alia that they had to take this risk even though it could kill them both. Alia then complied with Siddhu's request and hoped to regain his trust. Shortly after, Siddhu successfully took the flag and won this second round game. Everyone who witnessed his victory was very happy that their champion finally won this second round game. Meanwhile, Mark was seen watching Dev's birthday video when his son was still young. Shortly after, Dev approached his father with his fully armed subordinates and took all of Mark's subordinates hostage. Dev's purpose there was to discuss the future of Maidaan with a little game that he had prepared. Apparently, their favorite vodka was in these 4 glasses, and one of them meant death for them. After that, They took turns drinking the vodka and being honest with their feelings. Where Mark said that even though he would eventually die by drinking the last glass, there were still 4 other leaders who would continue to control Maidaan. However, Dev asked his father not to worry because he had taken care of all of them and taken their fingerprints. What remained now was only his father's fingerprint, so Dev could fully control Maidaan. It turned out that there was no poison in each vodka glass because, after all, Mark was his father, and Dev had no intention of killing him. After that, Dev ordered Zach to take his father somewhere. The next day, Dev met with Thomas to give him a briefcase full of money. Usually, Mark would give the money, but Dev said his father was in Ellis. He also showed something to Zach that he planned to buy a country after the plutonium transaction succeeded for the sake of Maidaan's continuity. Meanwhile, Alia, who met Siddhu at Maidaan's headquarters, said that Mark was now in Ellis. Apparently, she got the information from her friend who worked as an entertainer and got the information from Thomas. After that, Siddhu and Patricia were now both searching for information about what Ellis was, and they only realized that it was a port where Mark was being held captive by Dev. They both meet at the harbor, where a container labeled Ellis is located. Inside the container is where Dev has hidden Mark. After successfully rescuing Mark from there, Siddhu began to inquire about the truth behind his brother's death. Mark then recounted the final race between Dev and Nihal, where Dev had sabotaged Nihal's parachute. Apparently, Mark had knew this fact but covered it up because Dev was his son. During the way, some people suddenly blocked their path, and the group was Zach along with Thomas, who had been working for Dev after receiving orders to kill Mark. However, what Thomas didn't know was that Zach had been working for Mark all along, who then strangled him until he died. After that, Mark provided information about the location and code for Dev's plutonium, but on the condition to never to disturb Maidaan because Maidaan was always about game. Shortly after, Patricia, along with her subordinates, successfully reached the location of the plutonium and secured it to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. Dev also received news that Zach had betrayed him, and his plutonium had been taken by the police who knew its storage location. Clearly, this made Dev very angry, leading him to rampage, destroying everything there. Sometime later, the third round game began and all players were ready to go to the location where the game was played. However, on their way, they instead went to a different location, where all participants got out of the bulletproof car and left Siddhu still inside. It turned out that the 7 participants were shot by Dev's henchmen, leaving Siddhu alive. After that, Dev told all the spectators that the 7 contestants had surrendered, and he didn't know why they did it. Hearing this, Siddhu was very angry with Dev for doing all this to his friends. However, Dev said that it wasn't Siddhu's dream because he had made it come true for him to become the champion in the game. But Dev added that every dream had its price, and every shattered dream came with a hefty price. However, Siddhu didn't want this easy victory as he would challenge the reigning champion to race with him. According to the rules, the winner could challenge the reigning champion. So Siddhu promised to win this game and avenge his brother's and his friend's death. After that, the operator explained the game they would both play. The race starts from the mountaintop to retrieve the flag atop the cliff. Then participants enter a 700-year-old cave, pass through the forest, and then return to the city. This race didn't challenge each other. They only played with time and tried to escape from a bomb that would explode 20 minutes in their hands after the race started. While the key to deactivate this bomb was inside a box after they successfully inserted the flag there. Not long after, the match began with Siddhu and Dev both tried to take the flag on the cliff. At that moment, the spectators were tense watching their actions there. Dev then managed to take the flag and quickly took a bike prepared for them to go to the location of the finish line. Inside the tunnel, Dev played dirty by kicking Siddhu's bike, causing him to fall. However, Siddhu quickly got up and tried to grab the flag carried by Dev. After successfully passing through the forest, both of them arrived in the town. But suddenly, a car passed by and hit Siddhu, causing him to fall in the middle of the road. After that, Siddhu immediately got up, remembering his promise to Nihal that he would win this game. Shortly after, an amazing feat was shown by Siddhu. Before touching the finish line, he successfully took the flag on Dev's back with a stunning sideways leap. In the end, Siddhu emerged as the winner and obtained the key to release the bomb that bound his hand. However, his victory was not enough to avenge his brother's death, and Sid, who preferred to challenge Dev to a fight and unleash all his anger towards him. even though Siddhu knew he had only 3 minutes left. Meanwhile, Dev's bone was broke from that slam, and Siddhu handed the key to him so he could be accountable for all his actions legally. However, Dev chose to die rather than endure the shame of his defeat. After that, everyone was seen celebrating Siddhu's victory in the arena, including his parents who were very happy to see their son alive after the race. It was revealed that Siddhu's true purpose for participating in the game was to uncover the truth behind Nihal's death. Moral lesson from the story: never bet your life on a moving train unless you want to be called crack and spend your days dodging police and angry fathers. Even if you win, you might end up with a hospital bed and a broken ego.